Yes. The Lisa, I see Lori, that's 3. I don't see Megan.
Beth was having trouble getting in.
Beth's having trouble too. All right, we'll give a few minutes.
Beth is here. I'm just promoting her to a panelist.
All right.
You all see the cover page, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Just want to make sure I'm.
And Aaron and I are in the same room.
Just so you know, Aaron, you're on your presenter view. So if you've got anything in notes fields on any slides, we'll be seeing it.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll get how to presenter view. Really? So you're seeing
We're seeing your presenter view.
Okay.
You probably have 2 screens, right?
Yeah, I probably need to let me
Share your other screen.
stop sharing and flip it around. Sorry about that. Not sure what's on what screen here.
All right, we've got Beth. So we got, let's see, Beth, Jess, Lisa, Lori. Where's Megan?
So let's
I see you, sir. All right.
yeah. Just
Megan's in attendees. You got to promote her.
Mike, did that fix it? Am I in?
You're not sharing it.
Okay. Shrink.
Mike, what name is Megan?
I'll just keep it in regular view.
Megan, I just saw, but it looks like she dropped off or something.
There she is.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Does that put it in regular view for you, Mike?
Yep, that's good.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let's see. So we got Jess.
Finagling it in screens.
Yeah, it's all right. So we got Jess, Lisa, Lori, Beth, Megan, myself, Al, Aaron. All right, everybody's here.
Okay.
Is everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. So I'd like to call this meeting of the Berlin-Boylston Regional School Committee to order, please. We're going to get right into it, lest anyone has the camera right in front of them and is only dressed in business COVID. So the budget assessment vote, if I could just say a couple things about the budget. I want to thank everybody that came Tuesday night. That was really a great show of support. Many of you also went to the Berlin Finance Committee meeting last night as well. And just so you know, if you want to go and speak again, there should be a select board meeting on Monday. I believe they called in to the FinCom meeting and actually invited the FinCom to come meet with them on Monday. So there should be one. I checked a little while ago. I didn't see an agenda out yet, but they still have some time to get that up per open meeting law. So there probably will be a select board meeting Monday night if anyone would like to go. And usually they'll have a public comment for you if you show up. So please do that. I also want to thank, I don't know, is she on right now? Let me see. Yeah. So Kristen is on. Kristen Rubin from the town of Berlin, the Berlin administrator. I watched last night's FinCom meeting and she did a really good job sort of summarizing and explaining what we discussed on Tuesday night. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Kristen, for doing that. I know some people are still confused. It sounds like some members were still confused looking at different versions of the budget. Some were still looking at the February version, but we've moved on to the March 11th and now the March 25th version. We do that just for everybody's education awareness. We start back in, well, like October and November. I think we start back with putting these budgets together and presenting them to the towns and getting feedback. I think even 2 years ago, you know, last year's mess, that budget, I think even for that one, the first time we communicated a number was like the August before that. So like August 2023. So we do this, we put budgets out there, we get feedback, we get updated information from the state, updated information from our providers, insurance companies, et cetera. And then we make new versions because we have more information every time you have new information. So we're working from the most recent version It seemed like there was a little bit of uncertainty last night of which numbers to look at. But today we're discussing the numbers that we discussed the cuts from, or the decisions from Tuesday night. Just want everybody to remember, this is a below level service budget, as Al has previously talked about. I believe the numbers we saw Tuesday night, those numbers marked in yellow of each of those slides from the March 11th cuts, I think it totals, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere around $1 million, or $1,068,000 is what I came up with. But check my math on that, everybody, because it's not exact.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Another thing to keep in mind, last year in June at that special meeting, remember we talked about this Tuesday night. We took that $250,000 in a combination of cash and cuts to reduce the tax hit again in Berlin. We probably shouldn't have done that. It's not great to use cash to sort of fund an operating budget, but we did that as an agreement with the town last year. So when you look at this year's assessment numbers and the change year over year, it looks larger than it really should be, because we use that cash. When you take that 250 into consideration, most of it was hit at BMS elementary school. It knocks it down about 3 or 4% from where I think in this it's showing somewhere around 5 or 6. But I want you to keep that in mind too when you're looking at this. Another thing affecting it, as Aaron has already pointed out, the way the regional agreement is written for Tohoto, when an expense moves from an elementary school to the middle high school, whichever town it's moving from gets a little bit of a break when it gets to the high school. Whatever town it was not in originally at the elementary school picks up a bigger share of that. So in this case, I think we have a lot of expenses moving from BES to Tohoto. So Boylston gets a break of 35%, and Berlin has to pick up that 35%. That's part of the regional agreement. So when you're looking at the changes in the assessment numbers, wondering why Boylston has 2/3 of the students, why aren't they getting 2/3 of the additional movement, and all those types of questions, keep that in mind too, that when the numbers shift from elementary to Tohoto, it gets split instead of being 100% for the town. So I want to make sure that we're clear on that. I'm not going to mention anything about the capital changes, but there might be some capital changes possibly. I don't thank you again, Kristen, for agreeing to take another look at that. Again, I want to mention the select board meeting on Monday, if anyone wants to go and watch that and talk to them about that. And then the last thing I want to do is, well, not the second to last thing I want to do is, remember, I talked Tuesday night about getting all the boards together, at least all the chairs of all the different boards in the towns, and trying to figure out if we can come up with some sort of long range plan on how to sort this out a little more effectively than coming to these last minute scrambles like this. And I think I mentioned September might be a time where we want to start getting that together. So I'm going to put that out there again in public, get it on the record. But I'm inviting us and all the chairs of all the different boards and committees involved in this process to get together and just talk. It doesn't have to be anything special, but figure out if we can get a longer term plan than just a few months out there. And lastly, I want to read from the DESE letters that we got. We've mentioned them several times in these meetings. So people might be wondering what they are, but this one here, dated October 11th, 2024, to the towns and to us. I'm just going to read the part where they talk about the budget process, just so everybody understands why are we even here today, what's going on, why is everything back and forth, why do we have to go to all these different meetings, why can't someone just say what the budget is and that's what it is. Yesterday at the Celebration of Learning, I was talking to someone and they were a little upset that, didn't we just do this last year, he says to me, and why do we have to do this every year? And basically because that's the way it works. Government by the people, for the people. It only works if the people get involved. And that's particularly appropriate now, seeing as how we're not cutting it, but we were discussing cutting a second grade teacher. That class would be the current first graders. And what do we all know that the first graders are doing right now? They just did their patriotic play, right? So the first graders are learning about how government works, representation, things that they do, and at an appropriate first grade level. But we as adults need to learn it too. This is how our government works. This is what was voted on for the towns back in 2019. 2018, and this is what we have right now. So I'm going to read from a letter from the Department of Education to the district and to the town discussing the budget process. So just bear with me, it's a little bit long. The regional school district law and regulations contain specific requirements related to the development, proposal, and approval of a regional school district budget and assessments, summarized as follows. A regional school committee must first develop a proposed general fund budget comprised of all expenses needed to support the operation of the regional school district in the upcoming fiscal year and hold a public hearing on that proposed budget. That's what we did on March 11th. Following the public hearing, the committee may incorporate any changes into the budget that it deems appropriate, then must vote by 2/3 of the full committee on a final budget and apportion the amount so determined among the member towns of the district in accordance with the terms of the regional school district agreement. We've had a lot of discussions on that agreement lately. The district's treasurer must then certify to each member town its assessment, presented as one total amount, which must correspond to the school committee's approved budget, and transmit the certified assessments and the committee's final budget to each member town for action at town meeting. The appropriating authority of each member town, the appropriating authority is the town meeting that they just mentioned, must then act on its certified assessment and the regional school committee's budget and may approve or disapprove its assessment and or budget. Per law and regulations, a vote by a member town to appropriate its assessment constitutes a vote to approve the regional district budget. All member towns of a regional school district must be presented with the same school committee approved budget, and each member town's assessment amount must correspond to that budget and be calculated based on law, regulations, and the provisions agreed upon when the regional agreement was approved by the member towns. They go on to say, while we encourage regional school districts and their member towns to collaborate through all aspects of the budget process, which we've been doing this year back to October, November. I think, Kristen, you laid that out last night as well, all the meeting times. So through all aspects of the budget process, the law and regulations do not contemplate a negotiation between a regional school committee and one member town concerning a proposed regional school district budget or a member town's assessment. Rather, the determination of an appropriate budget and corresponding assessments are clearly the role of the regional school committee, while the appropriating authorities of the member towns, that's the town meeting, have a right only to accept or reject the assessments proposed to them that are based on that budget. So that's the budget process. That's why we talk about, vote the school committee recommended budget, this recommended budget. That question came up Tuesday night. So again, that's why we vote the school committee's budget, yes or no. And if it's no, there's a process that we follow for that, which we learned last year as well. So that's what I wanted to say. Remember, we're here to finalize and vote on the numbers that relate to the discussions that took place Tuesday night. So Aaron, you have a little presentation for us. Would you mind taking it away, please?
Sure. Knowing that, we're all giving up, sort of time in the middle.
Aaron, jump a little closer to the microphone, please.
Oh,
Can't hear you.
sorry. Is that better?
Not
A
really.
little closer let me move a few things off my computer. Is that better?
A little bit.
Okay, I apologize, maybe Joe through screens here. So I'm gonna jump through some things very quickly and then get to the meat of the presentation in the interest of time. Really quickly getting to total budget. Our total proposed operating budget is $24,368,973. You can see the numbers, the changes, the percents there. Berlin Memorial, you will see this represents that $5,000 difference from March 11th that we talked about for the OPEB. The same with Boylston, right? $5,000 OPEB reduction from March 11th. Getting down to Tohoto, if you add those numbers up, they will come to the $15,000 difference that we discussed, reducing OPEB, right? As a bit of a difference between the towns. I believe it's 35.64% Berlin and 63.36% or 64.36% Tohoto. So That 15,000 gets split between the two in accordance with that, but if you add up the numbers, it should come up to the $15,000 difference. Getting to capital assessments, those remain for now. I know Mike mentioned there's some conversation with the town of Berlin around that. We had collapsed some things to get to Tohoto, but we'll continue those conversations on the Berlin side with Kristen. So then we get to total assessments. This is sort of the meat of things. To Berlin, we're looking at a total assessment of $9,158,483 versus that sort of March 11th total that included a lot of capital. If you look at the things and items in the prior slides, the operating should add up, consistent with those changes. Berlin, we get to a total assessment of $13,572,632. Again, I've put the March 11th total assessments on for everyone's perusal. And then we get to a proposed school committee motion. This should tie out with the numbers above for operating, debt, and capital to total assessments for the town. So I guess now we would entertain any conversation, any questions, or a motion by the committee.
Why don't we get the motion on the floor first, and then we can discuss if there's any questions. So could I please have a motion that the Berlin-Boylston School Committee vote to approve a FY26 operating budget of $24,368,973 and an FY26 debt and capital budget of $2,024,150, resulting in total assessments of $9,158,483 to the town of Berlin and $13,572,632 to the town of Boylston.
So moved.
Sound like Jess?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sounds like Lori. Thank you. Would anyone have a discussion or question on that?
I think a lot of discussion happened on Tuesday.
Absolutely. All right. Are we ready to vote? Okay. We're going to do a roll call vote here. We need 2/3 of the committee to vote to approve it. So I'll start at the top. Jess?
Yes.
Lisa?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. The motion passes 6-0. Okay. That motion's approved. Before we close and sign off, does anybody have anything to say?
Mike, just one follow-up. I received a text from Kristen, so I guess the meeting on Monday night is scheduled for 7:15.
7:15. Okay, thank you, Kristen. So on Monday night, the Berlin Select Board will be meeting at 7:15 in the town offices, I assume room 227. But there will be an agenda popped up no later than 7:15 tonight in order to stay out of an OML violation. But there we go. 7:15 Monday night, this coming Monday, if anyone wants to go, and they're going to be discussing the budget, I assume, for the whole town. But schools will be a part of that. And
So Mike, we're getting live updates as we speak from Kristen. Yes, in room 227, and the agenda will be posted shortly. Sorry.
thank you very much, Kristen. All right.
Live
7:15, room
updates. How's that?
227. Hey, live TV. All right. Fantastic, everybody.
Thanks, Kristen.
Right.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, everybody, for coming on and going through this whole process with us. I know it's a lot, but we're going to get there one way or another. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting, please?
So moved.
Jess?
Second. Lori.
Lori? Okay. Roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
All right. I'm an aye as well. Thank you very much, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you.
good.
Bye-bye.
Good afternoon.